happy Wednesday. You are tuned in to Transitions, Life Lessons, and Legacy. I am Hyacinth Henderson, and to my left, I got my pops.
Yes, I'm Robert Henderson Jr. Yes, I am. Her pops.
Certified financial planner.
Certified tax coach.
Founder.
President of the Henderson Financial Group. Yes.
Yes, and Henderson Insurance.
And Henderson Realty Enterprises. Yes, yes, yes. So happy to be here, daughter. So happy to see you shining bright, tail and bushy eye.
Yes, okay, I'm glad to be back.
Good, good.
I skipped town last Wednesday.
Yeah, you really did. I mean, you was out of here.
Yeah. I don't think, when did I say? I told you Wednesday, right?
I think you told
Tuesday,
me that.
the day when I was at the airport.
Yeah, when you was at the airport, you called me and said, Dad, this is where I'm going. This is where I am. Isn't that something?
By the way,
Wow, by the way, good thing she don't have a 9-to-5 job or a job that she's not a part of, owner, right? Isn't that something?
That would
Family
not
business.
feed my creative juices to have just. But here's the thing: now, thanks to technology, you can work from anywhere in the world.
I know that. Yes.
And so it's not like I was laid up on the beach, sipping margaritas, which
Yes.
would have been nice. Would have been
It's kind
fantastic.
of old. Doesn't it get kind of old?
It does, and plus, the older I get, I just can't. Anyway,
Kind of old, man. I think that's overrated, But
well,
anyway,
which part? I do love. I love the sun,
I know you love the water on the beach.
water. I love all of that.
But they pretty much told us that is happiness. We've actually been told what to think rather than how to think.
I guess.
No, we really have what is good, what is pretty, what is great. We really have. It's really a shame how people they've done mind controls strategies on us for a long time, and we have no clue.
I still love the water
That's good.
and the beach.
That's good.
Okay.
And the sun
And the sun. I love the sun.
and the stars
And the moon.
and that moon. Is amazing how that moon changes shapes.
Oh my goodness.
That is
We're having a full
amazing.
moon in a few days.
Can you believe that?
I can believe it.
That moon, sometimes it's close, seems like it's very close, and it's far away, and then it's like
It's
a
your
half
perception.
moon. Okay, yeah, yes. Then it's a half moon, then it's a full moon.
Oh, yeah,
my
different
God,
quarters
It's
of it.
amazing.
Well, I won't say that. Anyway, all right.
But
Thank
this
y'all.
is a financial planning, financial advisory show, and we're talking about transitions in the mind. I like talking about mind stuff because really, people just like to do it, but there's something that comes before the do it. It's the thinking, the thoughts, the thoughts,
Yes, absolutely.
And we haven't been taught that either.
No. But I think people like us are getting out there and we're talking about it. So although we weren't taught it, we can talk about it. And so we're talking about it more and out in the public domain, because I know that there are some people out there that you're having these thoughts and you're wondering as well. But, maybe at Thanksgiving dinner, they're not talking about it. And so when you see us, you're like, wow, there are some people, maybe the Henderson Financial Group, Mr. Henderson and Hyacinth, they're part of my tribe.
Yeah, you
Right?
are not alone.
Yeah.
You are not alone.
I am here with you. All right, so let's do this. Let's do the quick intro and then we'll get into today's topic. So for those of you who are loyal, avid, transitions, understanding money, Cream Tribe, Rising Solution listeners, hey y'all, welcome back. Thank y'all for being here. For those of you who are new, you may have just stumbled across this and like, what are these people doing on my YouTube or on my Facebook? We are here by day. We run the Henderson Financial Group, which is a full service financial planning and investment advisory
I'm
firm.
here at night too.
I mean, I'm working at night
some
as
of
well.
us are not here at night.
I'm working at night, but it's just like ego and alter ego. But come on, let me get back to my
all
spiel.
right, go ahead.
The Henderson Financial Group, full service financial planning and investment advisory firm, been in business for over 30 years when Mr. Henderson founded it, right?
Founded.
And so I've been here 19 years. I am a licensed stockbroker, licensed registered investment advisor, licensed annuity and insurance agent, and I am a lover of excelling and people and doing more. Increase. Yeah.
Development.
I just love that. So that's what we do. Our website is www.thehendersonfinancialgroup. And every Wednesday we get on here, we kick back and we have, it's more, I guess, personal, right? So you get to watch us have conversations about different things. Today we're going to be talking about perception, right? New thought, metaphysics,
Yes.
things like that. Astrology. Can we start talking about astrology
I guess you can.
on the show?
I mean, I don't know much about that, but I guess you can.
Okay. All right. I got you. I got your back
All right.
in front. All right. So that's who we are. www.thehendersonfinancialgroup.com. My good friend Sharia Green is here. Hey, Sharia. She is here.
Yeah, our good friend and our good friend Tracy Tompkins.
All right.
Hey, Tracy.
That's
Tracy,
right.
Tracy, you've been approved, brother. You good. Your health is good. I like to say that, man.
Good, good. I know that could
Anytime
be
somebody
pins and needles, huh?
yes, when you want to make sure that your health is good and you qualified and all that, you is good.
Yeah,
Anytime they
good.
say we will put money in bet that you're not gonna die.
Oh.
Anytime insurance companies
Right.
say that,
You doing something right.
doing something right.
Right.
Anytime people that don't look like you will actually put up money saying that you gonna be here, because they don't want to part with their money.
Right. Right.
So
if they're going to take a chance.
If they're gonna take a chance,
Right.
that means that you're doing something right. So keep on doing it.
Yeah.
Please keep on doing what you're doing right.
Keep it up.
keep
And
loving
you can
yourself.
always do better too. Do better. So today we're going to talk about perception, consciousness, and what did I say? Perception, consciousness, and your life. So the last time we were gathered here today, Mr. Henderson brought the topic up of are we robots?
Well, I said I was on my bike, because those of you all who don't know, I like to ride bikes. Since this pandemic, I ride like 20, 25. The other day I rode from my house to the office.
Really?
Yeah. And
Maybe
back.
I'll start. You ride on Sundays?
Yes.
Do you how many miles per hour do you ride?
I'm not really sure. Sometimes I
Maybe
go
I'll
fast.
start.
Yeah, maybe we can hook
riding
up and ride together. Yeah.
Because I haven't ridden my bike in months. It's been a while now.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I'll hook
you have the helmet. You still have the helmet. Oh yeah.
I never ordered the helmet. I got you the helmet. I just got a plain like $10 helmet.
You kidding me?
No.
Oh, so
The best for you. The best for you.
You know
I
what
don't
I'm
want
saying?
that for my birthday.
I-
Don't give me that for my
I'm not
birthday.
gonna ride a bike with you and can't talk to you through the helmet.
Let's talk about this off the air. What do
What? You say
so
you want that for
you're
your
saying if you cannot talk to me through this tech Bluetooth helmet,
Right.
that you can Bluetooth and all this technology, then you don't want to ride a bike with me?
That's just like me trying to talk to you and you have to go to the phone booth.
You know what? That's because that's what you're used to. So I
Right.
bought that helmet for you, and I looked at the price. I was like, I'm not buying this for myself.
But they've come down. They've come down. They used to like $300, $250. They're like $125 now. They have come down. But you got to have a Bluetooth helmet. I'm not going to be hollering, "Hi, C, look out. Hi, C." No, when I have a conversation with my helmet, I can listen to
Okay,
my
you can get it for
Audible.
my birthday.
Yeah, come on.
Every
it's
day is
great.
my birthday.
Yeah, I
So
get
you
your
can
stuff.
get it.
I get your stuff, throughout the year anyway, not just for your birthday.
You do. You can get that, I guess.
Oh,
Okay.
you know,
All right.
I
Thank
had a mosquito repellent thing to get you for your birthday.
What? You was about to give me mosquito
Yeah,
repellent?
a mosquito repellent. It really looks nice to put out right by your pool
I don't want that.
for your birthday.
Well, I do. Diana was by the pool last night, and she said the mosquitoes were tearing her up.
Right.
Maybe I need that.
Listen, I got
Okay.
one. It's so good, Heisey.
Does
And
it really stop them?
Yes, it does. You don't feel
Okay.
nothing out there.
Okay.
And I
all
said,
right.
that's what I'm going to order you.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe I get you the helmet and the mosquito.
And the mosquito, okay, because I pay Mosquito Joe every month to come, and it's not working.
No,
so I
you
was
gotta
like,
get this
okay,
high-tech thing.
all right, let's get back. So you
Okay,
were
so-
riding, you were riding your bike, and you were having a conversation, talking through your fancy bike helmet,
Right.
and your partner, and he said he
Well,
believes
a
we're
friend
all
of mine.
robots.
Don't say partner. You can't say partner anymore. He's a friend
Your
of mine.
biking
And he's
partner,
a client.
your cyclist. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm happily married. Okay, when you say partner,
Well, partner can be anything. I didn't take it there.
well, I'm just telling you because we live. This is a
Real
world.
world. Okay.
Web.
A friend. It's a he. It's a friend of yours,
Right.
and you're just friends. And when you're
Right.
riding,
And
he's
he's a client.
cycling
Right.
cycling buddy, not
Yes, cycling buddy.
Your cycling buddy.
Right.
Started talking through the helmets instead of riding.
Right. No, we
And-
were riding. We can
and
do
talking.
both. Just like you and I talking, but we are breathing.
You know what? Let me tell you why I'm accepting to you feeling like you can only ride your bike with that helmet. Because as I was coming here, I was thinking about the dining experience, and it's gotten to the point that if I'm not dining outdoors and near the water somewhere, then it's just not the same for me. That is my preference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's got, and I was like, gosh, this has come to this point that dining for me, a good dining experience means I must be outside. I must be outside with good service. The food is neither here nor there because I can cook, but I must be outside with good service for me to say, yeah, I really had a good time, at dinner.
Well, I like sidewalk cafes and stuff like that too, but it's not a must because
Yeah,
sometimes
it's
I
a
like
must
the
for me.
atmosphere inside.
Yeah, when I go inside, I just like.
Well,
what
that's
are we
where you
doing
are
here?
in consciousness right now.
Exactly.
Right now.
Exactly.
You will surely move from that because you never stay really stuck.
No, I don't want to stay there. I want one day the baseline of dining for me will be it's not a great dining experience unless I'm on a yacht. One day that will happen. Good, better, best. Never let them rest until
right.
your good becomes your better and your better becomes your. I'm
All
not
right.
going to just go
right.
backwards.
All right,
All right,
that's
so
cool.
let's get back to the robot story.
Yeah, so my friend Ivo, he was saying, Rob, we was having a conversation because when we ride, we don't just talk about anything. We talk about politics, we talk about finance, economics, and we talk about just human thought, And this guy's an anesthetist. That's what he does. He wanted to put you to sleep when you get ready to go and have an operation or have a colonoscopy or whatever. They put you to sleep. So that's what he does. So he was saying that his whole belief is, and what do you think, Rob? Because he knows I'm into metaphysics, right? So he says he thinks that what is the possibility that we all can be pre-programmed robots and not knowing it, and we're designed to do just what we're doing. We're designed to think the way we think, not no one else. No one else can make us. And when we do things, we think it was our own fault, but we're already programmed to think and act like that and to do that.
And you brought that to the show.
And I brought that to the show.
And I was
Just couldn't something you couldn't.
Right. And I said at the ending of the show, I said, at this point in consciousness, I'm not there. Maybe in 12 months, I will get there.
Yes.
And you said to me, and you said, no, you're my daughter. I know you will get there. So I'm happy to report, I wouldn't tell you this before, that thing just resonated with me. And I started peeling it back. And I said, well, Hyacinth, what are you triggered by? Are you triggered by the possibility of the unknown? What are you triggered by? And so I said, well, you're triggered by the word robots. And it made me think about our clients or prospects who come here, and we design a beautiful plan for them. And we tell them, in order for you to achieve your goals the way that you want to achieve them, it's going to blow your mind. You're not going to have to pay taxes. You have liquidity, use, and control. It's a life insurance policy. And they just shut down. And so I started thinking, I was like, gosh, Hyacinth, did you just block that out because of the word robot? So are you similar to when clients come and they just cannot believe that they're able to use life insurance as a way to achieve their financial goals? So first, and I'm sharing this because the process was so fascinating to me. So when I first said that, I was like, okay, Hyacinth, now that we know we're here, we know that, where you are, you can admit that you were just one-sided. Now let's open this thing up. And so I started opening it up and just kind of being, meditating and reading and stuff like that. And I still don't like the word robot.
Well, it's people still don't like the word insurance.
Exactly. That's been and I'm sharing this with y'all on air because I don't ever want you all to believe that we sit here and we're just like, oh, we're these robots that are programmed to just be, all above and beyond. Like, we go through this process. I said, let me bring this here to the show. So,
and that's interesting. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so glad you made the correlation and you made the connection. You don't want the words to get in the way.
Correct.
People like what a strategy may do. They don't like what you call it.
Correct.
Because we have been just programmed. When we hear the word insurance, we think of death and dying. And so we're not open to the many facets and many strategies of what insurance companies use to actually create and prosper. And most time when we hear about insurance, first thing we're thinking about is mitigating death. But it's not just mitigating death; it's mitigating a life. There's a lot of strategies that a lot of wealthy people use through insurance products. And like I said, most of us just think, when we think about death, we think about final expense, or we think about dying. But that's just not the case. That's like saying peanut. A peanut can only be used, it comes from a tree, and you just crack it open and eat it.
Right.
But, there's peanut oil.
Peanut butter.
There's peanut butter. There's so many things that peanut is a part of, potato chips, all kind of foods. So many foods, peanut is inside of that, but we don't think about that. I mean, you have, just like my grandson, he's still allergic to peanut. Yeah, I mean, so if it has peanut in it anyway, it doesn't have to be the actual peanut, but it's in there somewhere. So insurance, when you think about insurance, it's not just death insurance, life insurance, their insurance strategy. I had a doctor who came to me, and she had a lot of debt, especially student loans from medical studies, and we worked out this plan. I mean, she's on schedule to pay off her student debt in about 35 years, and we worked out this plan that if she saved money and using an insurance strategy, her debt would be paid off in 7 years. She absolutely loved the plan until I said the word insurance.
Right. Insurance, yeah.
Insurance, just like when I said to you
robot.
In terms about robot, you kind of like shut down.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring that. I didn't literally shut down.
Well, it was kind of foreign, a new thought to you.
Yeah, and I kept saying I'm not there in consciousness.
And I said, you will be.
Yes, so I wanted to bring that to the show because, and so to kind of peel back so that you all can see that you have to go through this process, right? You have to go. And before I get into the consciousness and perception, let me share another example that recently happened, actually today, right before the show. So I may have shared with you all that for my 40th birthday, I'll be 40 on August 7th. That's in about 3 weeks now, my 40th birthday. I'm gifting myself a new life insurance policy. We believe in the power of life insurance. And so anyway, I wanted to, so in life insurance, there are ratings. You get rated. It's kind of like a grade, right? So if you get an A plus, an A, a B, a C, a D. And so an A plus in life insurance would be a preferred plus rating. An A would be a preferred rating. Standard would be like a B or a C, and then you go down, right? So just for those people who are out there listening, so you say, I got an insurance policy, what are you rated? Right? So the insurance policy that I got a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, I was rated, and it was a different company. They gave me preferred rating. So I was like, okay, cool. So this company, I just submitted the application on Friday, and today they emailed me and they said, we approved you standard. So I'm like, no A plus, no A, standard. So I call the underwriter directly. Hey, I'm Hyacinth and I'm the agent and the applicant, right? So you have to know to say I'm the agent and the applicant. And I got your email and thank you for approving my policy so swiftly. And why standard? And so she shared with me, the first thing she brought up was my mom's family history. And so my mom had a stroke before the age of 60. And I said, yeah, I'd read the underwriting guidelines. I'm very familiar with them. That will bring me down from preferred plus to preferred. I was expecting preferred. And she said, yes, but then also you have a history of anemia. And I'm like, well, it's not real anemia. It's just the shape of my blood cells. And she was like, anyway, I said, thank you. I didn't want to go back and forth with her. What I then did is because I know how to build the policy to achieve the goal. So the goal is I'm buying this policy, dumping a large sum of money in it so that I can get the cash value. So what I did was I looked at the illustration, whereas I had rated myself preferred, and I looked at those numbers, and then with the same standard rating, I manipulated the numbers so that I can still achieve the goal.
Right.
So the cash value is still the same, the death benefit is still the same. I just don't have the label of preferred.
Right.
But it's still doing what it's doing.
It still does what it does.
And I had that process. I processed that. I said, okay, Hyacinth, sometimes you have to regroup. Is it your ego who is tied to this label? Or are you able to take a step back, do your favorite word, introspection, right?
Right.
Go through some introspection and figure out how can I change some things? And so this is why I always tell you all that it is so important how you build a policy. Y'all hear us talking about life insurance and all the beautiful things you can do with life insurance on our shows. And there are a great deal of you all who call our office and we write policies for y'all. Thank you. There are also a great deal of you all who watch our shows and you go to somebody else to write your policy.
Yes.
No problem. But if your policy is not built the way, if it doesn't have that engine, if they have not tricked out that engine, you're going to be like, wow, listen to Mr. Henderson and Hyacinth on on Facebook or YouTube. And I got my policy. And you know what? A year later, this thing ain't really doing what they said it was going to do.
Right.
And it's because it's not built correctly. So thinking about that, the perception, right? So I had to, Hyacinth, forget who cares that you are not rated preferred by this company. The numbers are still going to do what you need them to do so that you can achieve your goals. Girl, go on the back end, do this, do that so you can get them numbers hitting right? So let's come back to consciousness and perception. How do we get here? How do we get to the point how does one get to the point that we don't just look at things one-sided? What are some of the activities? How do you get here? I say I'm always in my head, but I just don't know how it got there.
When you say how do we get like individuals, just well, you start like yourself, I mean, it's always you always trying to analyze and look at yourself and dig deep because you only have one life, so to speak, as we know of, okay? But the one that we know right now, the life that we have right now, I mean, each and every one of us should really, really be trying to figure out who we are, why do we feel like this, why do we think a certain way, why are we afraid of this? I mean, and what are our limitations and our beliefs? All of us should be doing that to become a better person. A lot of people, figure they can't do that, so they go look for outside people to do it for them. But you need to start doing it for yourself. And when you start doing that, there's going to be a lot of questions And that's a beautiful thing. As a matter of fact, the Greek philosophers always used to say, you should always constantly be asking questions. That's one thing about myself. I feel like Peter Pan in terms of I'm still inquisitive. I'm very inquisitive. I'm about to be 63 years old, but I'm just as inquisitive about things and stuff and like I was when I was a kid. Because the person that knows something
knows they know nothing.
knows they don't know much at all. Now, what do we mean by that? We're at the Henderson Financial Group. We feel we know something. But every time we learn something, we recognize we didn't know it. So that's a clue that whatever we know, there's so much more to know.
That we don't know.
So you're always supposed to be looking and asking and learning and looking for increase and looking for development. So you never want to get stuck in a corner. You never want to get stuck in one belief, because that one belief could be for just this time, place, and moment. You always want to say, okay, is there better? Is there more? And you always want to look for that. And then it has to coincide and feel good to you and say, okay, because when you start doing that, Hyacinth, you start really feeling good about yourself and your meaning. A lot of us hurt because deep down inside, we're not on the right track. We know that we should be doing more, but we're being lazy, and we haven't been able to make ourselves do the things that we know we should be doing, especially when we don't feel like doing it.
Right. Right.
When you were just talking about that, how you reconstructed your life insurance plan, basically you went under the hood. It's like a racing car. You had this car. They sold you this car. The car really, they said, I'm sorry, it only has 4 cylinders. Then you say, hey, I'm like a mechanic.
That's right.
It only has 4 cylinders. Give me the car. I'm going to tweak it and make it go faster.
Yes. And there's a message in that for the people.
Yes.
So for those of you who are out there listening, how can you apply this to your life? So it's not about Hyacinth's policy. It's not about the race car. It's really not about that. It's about understanding that how are you doing this in your life? So let's go back to 2 weeks ago when we were on the show. And I'll tell you, I knew that I was triggered. Right? And so after the show, I was just like, oh my gosh, am I going to take this down? What am I going to do? How was I acting?
Well, but still, you was still in good company, because you was with the big kahuna here.
Oh my gosh,
who
here we go.
Always gave you something to think about. I've always gave you something to think about. And I'm glad you just didn't, just throw it aside and say, let ego. You said, let me go find out what the big kahuna is really talking about. Let me digest this.
Right.
Analyze this, diagnose this,
right,
and let me see if I can see the light. And I like that.
Thank you. Well, that's
I like
why I'm
that.
here.
Some people don't do that. Some people just like, I ain't listening to that.
And that's the point. That's the point that I wanted to bring. I'm like, listen, I knew that I was triggered. It was so much so, first of all, I never watch our shows over. When I'm here, we don't write it down. We just get up here, what we're going to talk about, and it just flows out. But I needed to watch that show to see if I was on Beyonce's internet acting a fool, right? So I go back and I watch the show, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You weren't acting a fool. You can keep this video up, right? But the message here is the process of me having a conversation with myself. I didn't call my dad after the show and say, why did you put that up there? He was uninvolved completely. But then I went through the process of saying, okay, what do I need to do to either see if I agree with his perception or if I'm just totally in disagreement with it. Same thing for the insurance policy. So when you listen to this, where are areas that you can question yourself first? The point is, you have to question yourself before you question others. And we've been trained for a large part of our lives to start questioning others first. He did that. He had me out there. They rated me this. Oh my gosh, they messed it up. I had a perfect plan. First of all, let me question myself and see what I can change so that I can still reach and achieve my goals. And I think that that's so important for people because, man, especially if you're watching that TV and stuff like that in the news, you will think that everybody has it all together. That social media will have you thinking everybody has it together. They don't sit down and talk about the process of really going within, questioning yourself, and being open to other perceptions. And so that's why I titled today's show, Perception, Your Consciousness in Your Life, because your life is different from my life. Based on our perception, individual perception, and consciousness. I just think this is so fascinating to me.
Now, so those people who missed the show 2 weeks ago, you can always go back.
Yes.
And look at it.
Yes.
But if you missed the show, we started talking about, and I said, because a friend of mine, we were actually riding our bikes, we were at about 25, 30 miles on a Sunday, and we're not going extremely fast. We don't have on those cycling outfits
That's
and
that's
tight
why you
clothes.
could talk through them helmets.
That's why we can talk through the helmets because we're cruising. I mean, he's 68. I'm gonna be 63. But we're not going real slow. But we're going at a nice pace.
Okay, we're
But
gonna
not,
see.
we're not huffing and puffing and stuff. No, we're not doing that. But we exercising.
Okay.
I mean, we really, and we're having great conversation. So the conversation was, he says, Robert, what about? Have you ever thought about we all could be program robots, that we are here. Everybody who's doing what they're doing is programmed to do that. I mean, just like a vacuum cleaner, it's this type of vacuum cleaner A does different than vacuum cleaner B. Vacuum cleaner A costs more because it has more power to it. Vacuum B only have 2 cylinders to it, whatever, So you pay less for it. So individuals, if we are considered robots, that means we're predestined. We're here to do what we're going to do and have that effect. So what that says is, think about that for a second. That means that your crackhead uncle who loves being a crackhead and you're trying to talk him out of being a crackhead, it's his time to be a crackhead. And there's something for you to learn from watching him being a crackhead. So for you to say, no, don't go that way.
Right.
I don't want to wind up like him. He's a crackhead. And him being a crackhead was put on the planet at this time, for the same time that you're on this time on the planet, so you can observe and know what not to do. Now, if you do see him as a crackhead and all of a sudden you start smoking crack, that means that you was programmed already to see him and start smoking crack. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
But, and then some people say, okay, I want to study this, and some people want to study that, and some, because we all, believe it or not, even though we see with our own eyes, but we all still see differently. So some people say, oh my God, I want to be a truck driver. You're like, why would he want to be a truck driver? Why don't he want to be a doctor? Because he was programmed to think like being a truck driver. Another guy says, oh, I want to be a janitor.
And his consciousness. So I think that's why the robot thing, because the robot thing for me, I just immediately get the visual that, we have no control. We're just here like this piece of metal and we're just doing. And I have not been able to digest that yet.
Well, see, because when you're saying we have no control, listen, when you're saying we have no control, now, the only reason why you're saying that is because to say that, you're using all of your intellectual sense, everything that you have in your brain, intellectual, what you have thought and what you think. That's all that you can come up with,
consciousness,
based on that. The intellectual part of us is not all of us.
Absolutely.
Got that right? Okay, so when you, and then consciousness, do you think consciousness is intellectualness?
No.
Okay, so that's 2 different powers. So intellectual people will be stuck and say 1 + 1
is 2. That's it.
Or intellectual people say something is impossible.
Correct.
Because intellectually, you'll say this is impossible.
Correct.
Consciously, we know that things that have been said to be impossible became possible over a matter of time.
Right. Through and that brought me to another point that I wanted to bring to today.
Okay.
What opened my eyes to be receptive to the fact that, so one of the things that I one of my mantras, if you will, that I have said for many years is that you create your own reality. You create your own reality. And I believe at the time that I started saying that, I needed that mantra at that point because I needed to have that belief that I was in charge of and I was able to create my reality so that I can shift my reality. And so now as I continue to seek and go higher, it's no longer my mantra. It's not that you create your own reality. So I'm torn between we co-create or we journey through a universe that is already created. And we already have, like you say, the predestined, but we are journeying through to be able to say, okay, are we going in this door? Are we going to that door? And so here's where I tied that in. And then I want your expertise, Big Kahuna, to bring this. So after you read books, like, so once you get to the level first, I remember I was in high school, I was reading like Eric Jerome Dickey and Zane and stuff like that, right? Those were the books I was reading. And then after high school, I graduated to different types of books like self-help books and mind books and things like that. And so after you reach a certain level of the types of books that you're reading, you get to a point that you start to realize, unless it's an autobiography, they all are basically saying the same thing with a different author based on their personal experience. And so the laws, not rules, right? The laws of the land, laws of the universe are the foundation. And when you read a book,
principles.
the principles. And so I'm like, wow, this is the other day we were out of town. I was listening to a book that I had listened to before. And as the author said something that he said, I said, oh, that's Joseph Murray, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I said that. And I was like, okay. And we just continued driving. And a few minutes later, when he named he said 2 books that changed his life were The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murray. And so basically I shared that to say that once you start reading and get to a certain level, you realize that it's the principle. And so if it's the principle, then it doesn't matter how you slice it. All that is already is. And so I feel like that's why I'm receptive to you. Although I don't like the word robot, I'm receptive to you saying that we're here. If you're going to be a crackhead, you're going to be a crackhead.
Right. So let me spin it another way. And what you're saying, whether it's Joseph Lowry or whether it's Neville, you know, or even Reverend Ike, because Reverend Ike,
love me some Reverend Ike.
Reverend Ike was using those same
principles,
yes, principle as Thoreau, Thoreau used them, and Plato and Socrates, all of them the same. They're the same. They just said it a different way. It's like math.
Correct.
It's like explaining 1 + 1, or just explaining general math in a different way from a different teacher. But it's still the same principle. 1 + 1 will always equal 2. But you just get a different teacher.
And so, and a different teacher, I believe, is we gravitate towards the teachers that we need at that time based on our consciousness.
Right.
Based on our level of consciousness. So some people need their food to be diced up into bite-sized pieces. Some people can say, we went to dinner Monday and your grandson was able to, with the steak, they gave him a steak, and he was able to, first he, like a caveman, grab the fork, and I'm like, and he's like, okay, let me do it correctly. So now that he's graduated, he's able to, have his food a different way.
And so, and also that same steak, now my grandson is 10 years old. That's my grandson. That was my grandson when he was 1 year old. He was my grandson when he was 6 months. At 6 months, if you had given him that same steak,
it would have killed him, choked him.
He wasn't developed.
Right.
He couldn't take, he couldn't absorb, he couldn't swallow, he couldn't digest that truth, that steak. But he had to wait until his time came. He's 10 years old. That same piece of meat, that same steak, he can digest it. He can enjoy it if he likes it.
So it's not about steak, people. It's about consciousness.
It's about consciousness and where you are at the time.
And giving yourself that grace, mercy, freedom to do the introspection, question yourself before you question others, and say, wait a minute. And if you notice, when we did that show, I just kept saying, I'm not there in consciousness yet. Now, before I would have said, nope, you're absolutely wrong. You're wrong and I'm right. So the lesson is, as you interact with people, it's not about wrong or right, because you may be in a position to where you're 6 months old and you can't digest the ribeye.
Exactly.
But if you keep growing, if you keep going through your journey of life, processing and things like that, you get teeth in, you get stronger and things like that, you may get to the point that you now can not only eat the ribeye, but you can cut it up yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you even know which ribeye is better for you, which steak is better for you.
And how you want it cooked.
Whether you want a chuck or you want a T-bone or whatever. You follow me?
Right.
But I want to ask you something to see. I just want to check you for a second.
Here we go. Go ahead.
So what if I said to you, daughter, before you was born, the universe, God.
I don't believe God is the universe, but okay.
Okay. The source.
Okay.
Okay, so before you was born, the source says, Robert, you are going to be studying financial planning and investments. There's going to come a time where you're going to need someone that you can totally trust. You may try along the way over these next 40 years to get people, but none will be more trustworthy and believe exactly what you're doing and pick up the mantle. None will be more than this child that we're going to send you. And her name is going to be Hyacinth. So Hyacinth was sent to me. Heisey at one time, like you said, read Zane.
Right.
And then Heisey at one time had a BMW, and the whole back seat was a speaker.
It's a nice BMW too.
And Heisey, when one time, when he was 19, 20 years old, when we'd be in the office, all of a sudden the walls would be shaking because we would hear 50 Cent. Or was it 50 Cent? Or
It was 50 Cent and Trick
Tupac?
Daddy and Tupac. And so we were on the
Trick Daddy.
third floor then.
Yeah, we were on the
The
third
office
floor.
on the third
We was
floor.
on the third floor.
And I was downstairs, when I arrived.
Boom, 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 a big old beat because you had a big old speaker in the whole back seat. Nobody can sit in your back seat.
It was
a trunk or
multiple
seat?
speakers. It was multiple
It was in
speakers.
the back seat. It was in the trunk.
Yeah, but nowadays, guess what? I need the music off.
And I said it's gonna ruin your ear. You remember that?
Yeah.
Did
And
I speak?
you did. Did you jinx me?
I didn't jinx
You
you.
jinxed me. Yeah. I told
jinx
people
you.
you did not. No, you didn't. You didn't. I was just joking.
Have you ever told people I told you about them speakers being so
No,
loud?
I don't do that. I do tell them that. So I'm like, if I don't have my glasses on, I can't read your lips, and I literally have hearing loss. I'm supposed to be wearing a hearing aid right now. so don't talk to me. Just leave me alone.
And I actually told her back then, and that was 20 years ago. And I said, "Hi, come on, what are you doing?" And so my whole point is, I watched my daughter go through all.
You go through even though that message was there. And did that message come to you? Just making this up.
Let me get
Okay,
to the
let you
point.
finish.
Let
Go
me
ahead.
get to the point. So, could it be possible that, unbeknown to you, because when you decided to get your toes done when you were in
High school.
and cut all of your toenails basically back, other than that one fat toe,
You won't let that go.
make sure that grew as long as it could grow.
And you
on
know
both.
what?
And
I
then
want-
you actually painted it. Then you have a design on it.
I was just gonna say I wanted it to grow so long, and I didn't want it to break.
Right.
So I put acrylic on top of the big toe.
Yes.
I put a hardening powder on top, so that and then design. She would do 3D designs on the top and everything. Yeah.
And you was in high school.
I was in high school. Living
Did
my
I
best
once
life.
come to you and bash you or say anything about that?
Well, you said something about that big toe,
But I'm just saying.
but you didn't say cut it off. You
No.
must do this and
No,
this and that.
because I knew that you were in what?
That level of
Developing.
consciousness.
That's right. The level of consciousness and developing. You follow me? So could it be that you were pre-programmed to come here and go through the channels and do exactly what you did to reach this level of consciousness to be where you are right now? That's why I can say when I speak to you now and I tell you something to be like, whoa, what are you talking about? I said, you're not there now, but you will get there. That comes from experience.
Now, let me ask you a question, because last show I said maybe in a year I'll get it. Did you? How soon did you think I would get it?
Oh, no. It's not up to me to
I
to say the
know it's not
time.
up to you, but
You
just
saying-
you
you said-
thinking. Did you think I was gonna get it like in 2 days?
I didn't even think no more about it because I knew
You
it
just
was
let it
going to
go.
come to pass.
Okay, so back to your question.
Okay, no. So I'm saying, what if you, in all your whole experience and stuff, you're programmed to do and be.
I believe it.
Yes. Now you think that you had something to do with a whole lot of it, but whatever your choices was, we already knew that you were going to wind up where you are right now and go further.
Right now, but we didn't know the time.
You never know the time. It's not up to you.
But here's my take on why we don't know the time.
Okay.
Because although I was, the word program, let me just say it, programmed. Although I was programmed to take this journey, the time in which I would get to my next stage of my journey, I think has to do with how I go through training. Like if I was still of the consciousness of, the speakers and things like that, I would not be here at this time. Could you say that?
No, because the source that knows exactly, knows you before
Down
you,
to the minute.
Yeah, every
Okay.
hair on your head.
I'm still studying it.
Yeah.
So then in the meantime, I like believing that with meditation and implementation.
That's just calisthenics. That's just
Right,
entertainment.
right.
So you want to be entertained because you don't want to look at yourself as being programmed in a robot. And if you go ahead and just be a drunk and whatever, that there was also destined to happen.
Yeah,
too.
but it can also make people lazy. So we have to be careful with that.
No, because there's something in you.
Well, I guess it does. You can't. You're right. It goes back. That's a part of your programming.
That's right.
Right. You're going to get up.
That's right.
You're going to get up and do what you have to do.
Exactly.
Deep, man. Deep. So deep.
Now you're starting to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
now you start-
interesting.
and you wonder why this person don't see it the way I see it.
Yeah. Well, I stopped wondering that. I started saying consciousness. That's where they are, consciousness.
Yeah. Now, so that's why I say when people come to our office, there's something for us to do for them people. Now,
Right.
we're not here to crack them over the head and run behind them and make them. When they, it's like a dog whistle when they say, okay, they hear the truth, they know it's the truth, and it's know what they need. They gravitate toward us, and that's so. So we don't have any competition because we do what we do the way we was programmed to do
What
it.
we're destined to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the people who are going to come to us, they're supposed to come. Now, the people that's supposed to come to us and then they go, then they'll come. A lot of times they come back,
Right.
because there is something that's saying that was the truth, and they want to do things on their own. But in order to be in harmony with what they're supposed to be doing, then they'll come to us. Now, everybody don't supposed to come to us. I don't want to think
I
everybody's
agree.
supposed to be. We're supposed to get everybody. No, everybody not supposed to come. Some people are supposed to be go there and go there. But the ones that are supposed to come to us, you feel it and you know it. So you don't have to beat your children over the head, your brothers and sisters and whatever, because we all have different makeups. We all are programmed to do different things and have different experiences on this planet while we
Would
here.
you say programming and the word destined or destiny is interchangeable?
Well, I mean, whatever, words are words.
Oh, you
I
know
mean,
what? Now that I think about it, I have "it was written" tattooed on me. And I've tattooed that before I was in this place of consciousness.
Okay, so if it was written, then I mean, it's,
Yeah,
that's what you're saying,
it's
the
all
same
coming back.
thing.
And back in MySpace days, y'all remember MySpace? My tagline was "destined for greatness," and on MySpace days, I was wilding.
Yes, you was.
I was not. I had them speakers and everything else going
Yes, you
on.
was.
So yeah, just me thinking about that. It's on my back that it was written, so I don't see it, right? But I just thought about that. It was written, and I don't know what made me get that or what I thought, but it was written. It was programmed.
Yeah.
All right, good.
And but we think that we doing it, whatever. But who you are, who you are. I mean, you really are. Now,
Yeah.
and then you feel good when you discover who you are, because then you know what you're supposed to be doing. Now, if you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're not going to feel good. That's how you know
if you're off track,
if you're off track.
I agree.
You're not
Yeah.
going to feel good. You know. Now, there's some people that just they you know, they do the wrong thing and they feel good doing the wrong thing. That's their role this lifetime.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I thought about it when I was thinking about my life insurance. It's like I could have checked the box that nobody had a stroke, but then I would have felt bad about lying.
Yeah.
You know, I'd have felt bad about that, and I was like, no, just check.
Well, insurance companies look for you to tell the truth so they can rate you, because they have to mitigate
their risk. Yeah.
their
But
risk.
I'm glad. I was like, yeah, well, you can check, you can be honest, and then go on the back end and.
I mean,
do
you're getting ready
something
to drop a lot of money,
else. Yeah.
And you're going to pay for it annually, like a bah, and it's the money you're going to put in is probably more than most you put.
Well, their salary.
Their salary is what you're going to put in there, you know.
Yeah.
And
But that's life.
Yeah, but so the way we handle strategies is different from most people and most organizations. You're not just a number. We get to know you personally, like Denise Ward. We know her. June Danny. We know Miss Redhead. We know her. Sharia. We just went to Sharia's book signing. We know her.
Yes.
Tracy Thomas. I've been knowing Tracy Thomas probably about 30 years or something. I don't know. You know,
A long time.
a long
Wow.
time. And we know. And then if you're listening, you become a part of us, of our family organization. Then we get to know you. We get to know your children. I just had one client bought both of her children, one 37, one 34 years old. And the 37-year-old, he used to live in Japan. And I told him last year we were scheduled to go to Japan. And he started speaking Japanese.
Oh wow.
And he's a black guy, you know,
Wow.
and he was speaking that stuff fluent. I called Jasmine and Charles in to look at that. And he says, hey, listen, when y'all get ready to go back, and when y'all get ready to go, because we had to postpone our trip because of the pandemic, I said, I don't know if we're going in 2022 or 2023, probably 2023. He said he'll be our guide,
Yeah.
you know, but he knows the whole island
Oh, wow.
of Japan.
Okay.
It is fantastic.
All right. Thank y'all so much for being here. It's 101.
It went by fast, eh?
It went by. Well, we did start a
New
little.
thought. You think we gave him something to think about?
I'm.
Or you think it was
yeah.
complicated?
No.
think it's
The people
complicated?
who were here were meant to get this message, and their programming. They were meant to tune in today or whenever they're going to listen to this to get this message. And so here's the thing. You don't have to get this message and say, or watch this video and say, oh my gosh, I agree 100%. You may watch the video and say, I don't know, but it may lead you down a path of thinking about something else, doing some reflection, doing some research and things like that. And that is what the video's purpose is for. So whatever the purpose is for, you're going to get that. That's why you're watching this live or this video either on Facebook later or on YouTube. All right. Until next time.
I want you to think of the word development and increase.
Okay.
Until next time, development and increase.
I love increase.
Yes.
Yes, I like that. We'll talk about that next week. All right. Oh, before we go, tonight, 7 p.m., today is Wednesday, we have the Rising Solution Show with Antonio Woodbury and Tavares Jones. And each and every Saturday morning, we kick off our week of programming with the Understanding Money Show bright and early at 8 a.m. I slide in at 9:30-ish. This Saturday, I'm going to have Baba Pearson.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I called him. He called me back. But I'm going to have Baba Pearson. We're going to be talking about health is wealth. So I recommend that everybody tune into that show. That's this Saturday at 9:30-ish. And then at 10:15, we're going to have the Understanding Money Part 2 with Mr. Henderson and James T. All right. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to share this video, subscribe, and like the Henderson Financial Group page. And until next time, stay safe and stay sane.
Peace.